Welcome to No Password Required. I'm your host, Jack Clabby, a cybersecurity attorney at Carlton Fields, PA. And with me is...
I'm Sarina Gandy, the communications and marketing analyst at Cyber Florida and the producer and the host of the upcoming Cyber Bay podcast.
Well, Sarina, we're so excited you could join us today. Kaylee Melton, who's our usual co-host, wasn't able to make it tonight, and really appreciate you joining us. And we're really excited to check out the Cyber Bay podcast when it launches. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Now, we've just finished a great conversation with DeMarcus Williams. DeMarcus is a senior security engineer at Starbucks. So, Sarina, what stood out to you most from that conversation?
I feel like so much stood out to me. He is just such a cool guy, very nice to just talk to, and he felt very relatable to me in a lot of ways. One thing that really stuck with me is how his curiosity about video games and how they work is kind of what got him into cyber to begin with. And these are things that I've been thinking about lately when it comes to like gaming, and just a lot of what he said really resonated with me, and I would be fascinated to dive deeper into his brain.
Right. He also does a nice job of describing for us the difference between transitioning from a defense contractor job where he was working on sort of narrow portions of very complicated, very serious things to a corporate sector job where he had much broader access to sort of the tools of the trade and all the things that the entity was working on and some of the sort of differences between those two roles. I know that's something that a lot of our listeners have been through or might be contemplating. And so they should stay tuned. You've heard a little bit about now what Sarina and I took away from this discussion. Now let's hear what DeMarcus has to say.
Welcome to No Password Required, a podcast dedicated to showcasing the top personalities in the world of cybersecurity.
Welcome. Our guest today is DeMarcus Williams. DeMarcus, welcome to No Password Required.
Hey, good to be here. Good to see y'all. Glad to be here.
So DeMarcus, you are a senior security engineer at Starbucks, just an absolutely iconic brand by any measure. Tell us, what is your day-to-day actually like?
Yeah, so day-to-day, honestly, is a lot of planning. Either for the current work that we're doing or future work that is coming up, right? So a lot of meetings, a lot of talking with senior leadership and kind of getting their gauge for things they're concerned about. And outside of a lot of the meetings that we're in, we do have days where we actually get to do real work, right? So those are the days we call operating days, and it's a lot of hands-on keyboard, anywhere from like 4 to 5 hours straight operating. We'll take breaks here and there, but those days are definitely the heaviest. So not every day is like that. The majority of the time is meetings. So yeah.
And is there like how much of what you plan for a given day gets done that day, or like how much is emergencies or things that pop up?
I would say, thankfully, in my current role at Starbucks, the emergencies are few and far between. They do happen. You know, the field we work in it's always moving. It's moving fast, right? So thankfully, not every day is like a Log4j incident, but sometimes these things do come up, and it's all hands on deck, including the red team, including our incident response teams. And, you got to get stuff done that day, that hour, right? Hourly updates. So, but that's not every day, thankfully.
Okay. And DeMarcus, what are some of the responsibilities that you have in your role?
Yeah. So as a senior security engineer, my role includes the planning and execution of full scale operations. So that's everything from notifying the stakeholders, getting an attack plan drafted and approved by the VP, actually executing on that, and then finally writing up this huge report that goes to the VP and the SVP about, all the terrible things that we found, but most importantly, how to fix it, right? Like, we don't just want to rain on someone's parade. We definitely want to get things fixed. We want to make sure the business and our customers are secure. And then on top of that, mentorship. So as a senior, we definitely want to make sure that the juniors coming in are going to be able to be up to snuff by the time it's their turn to be senior, and just make sure that we're keeping things rolling as far as the talent goes.
And DeMarcus, like the scope of what you're looking at, is it website stuff? Is it brick and mortar stores? Is it corporate? Or do you have like a certain sections that you split it up into?
So for our team at Starbucks specifically, they've kind of given us everything, which is a huge scope. So we are responsible for the company globally. While we do have our sister teams, we have AppSec, we have vulnerability management, we have our incident response team. The red team specifically, it's whatever really is most concern to our leadership is what we focus on. So that might be a physical engagement at a brick and mortar store, might be a cloud engagement, might be a device that may be getting put into a drive-through or store. So everything really, man.
Does that include like open Wi-Fi in stores?
It does. It does include with the Wi-Fi in stores.
wow.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So wait, as a red teamer who is sort of wired to spot these vulnerabilities, like can you just walk into a brick and mortar Starbucks as a regular citizen and relax, or are you always scanning for things like that?
You know, it's funny you asked that question. And I think this is where I probably knew something was really wrong with me. But I can't walk into any store, an airport, or anything like that, and see technology and not the gears just start turning immediately, right? Like, especially you people, you've probably seen it. You go to a McDonald's or, like I said, an airport or something, and you see a kiosk and maybe it crashed or it's got like a blue screen, or you can see the operating system that's running behind it. And the part in me that is the hacker part, I always want to go up to it and start fiddling with it, see if I can pop a shell, open up a terminal. But obviously you can't just walk around doing those sorts of things. You might get in trouble. So
yeah, I was at a doctor's office and there was like an automated kiosk for it was like earlier this week, actually, an automated touchscreen kiosk for checking in, and it was broken. And
okay.
and I'm not nearly the experience level you were, but I really wanted to play around with it. But I was like, no, don't, just go do your appointment, get out of there. But man, a doctor's office, I was like, come on, you can't have that.
Right. I know it's enticing. You want to fiddle with it, but we just gotta I'll stick to the home lab. Okay. I won't mess with other people's stuff. Yeah.
They should just put a bag over it or something, right? Just and talk. So, a lot of I'm guessing that a lot of your work is data driven, right? That you're running, studies over time, or you're looking at things that are stranger than the norm and you have to respond. But do you ever get the chance to like follow a hunch? How much of this is your gut? Are you allowed to kind of follow your gut too?
Yeah, I would say honestly, a decent chunk, maybe 50% of what we do is a gut feeling, especially when you're talking about the red team stuff, because it's such a broad scope. Sometimes people get confused when it comes to like penetration testing versus red teaming. It sounds like a very similar work. Penetration testing tends to be more narrow, and red team is like whatever you can think of, or your creativity level to get to the goal is really, it's in bounds, obviously, legally,
Yes.
but I would say the gut feeling is a big part of it. Yeah. And that's where you get some of the most impressive findings, I feel, when you were allowed to be creative. So
are there any things that, you probably can't talk about particular operational security things at Starbucks, but are there things that generally retailers, what would surprise retailers that they should be on the lookout for things like that, for a physical security perspective?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you mentioned earlier, the open Wi-Fi networks, just endpoints that you may have forgotten about that are in other regions that lead back into, I don't know, you could call it your home base of sorts. Like if you're headquartered in North America and you've got some things sitting out in the EU or Asia and you kind of forgot about, and you don't want anyone just kind of walking over from that part of the network into where the crown jewels are. So yeah, hygiene, I would say, like cyber hygiene is a big one.
Oh, absolutely.
Going back to that intuition a little bit, I'm curious, when you first started, was it difficult for you to kind of listen to your gut like that? Did you ever doubt it? Or were you always just like, all right, this is it, I'm going to follow it, I know exactly what I'm doing?
No, definitely. I'd say it was difficult up until very recently, probably. I know a lot of people in our field struggle with imposter syndrome. I'm not immune to that at all. So just kind of the feeling of, am I doing this the right way? Everyone around me is so much smarter than me. Like, how do these guys know this stuff? But eventually you get enough reps in, you keep doing it over and over again, and you start to kind of almost convince yourself like, oh, I actually do know what I'm doing. Maybe, so up until very recently, I would say it's a lot of second guessing, but you get there eventually. So.
Going back even further to those early days when you were sharpening your skills in cyber competitions, what first sparked your interest in cybersecurity? And was there a moment where it all just clicked for you?
Yeah, so it goes back pretty far. I like to always tell the story of I feel like my cybersecurity interest really sparked from actually from playing video games. So I loved finding glitches and like the little cheat codes in video games where maybe you could go through a wall or put in a certain combination to get extra lives. And that was just really fascinating to me that you could unlock this other part of like the software of the game that you almost weren't meant to see or weren't meant to experience unless you knew about it. So that just kind of like easily transferred over into computers. We got our first computer in the home. I don't know if you guys remember the old Gateway computers. Looks like a cow, like the spotted black and white. That was my first. Yeah, that was my first home PC. So we got that bad boy, and it was all bets off from there. Like I started tinkering with that, installed Linux on it. My mom was mad. She was like, "What is this? Like, why can't I get to Windows in my email?" Um, so as far as when it all clicked, that's a good question. I want to say it probably wasn't until I really got my first job out of college, I think is when I felt like, okay, I'm really doing this stuff now professionally, and I can kind of, put that badge on my chest that like I am a cyber professional now at this point. Even when I was doing CTFs and stuff in college, it didn't seem real, I think, until it was real, if that makes sense.
That definitely makes sense. Absolutely. I can totally relate to that. And I feel like having that, being able to put the badge on maybe helps a little bit with like the imposter syndrome too. And when you're in school, it's just like, well, I'm doing it. I'm trying it out and seeing what kind of happens. And now you're in it. You're really doing it.
Right.
So tell us a bit more about your journey at the University of South Alabama and how your underdog squad took down UCF at SECCDC. I got to hear more.
Yeah, so started at South Alabama back in 2014. It's getting further away. Yeah, getting older. But as a freshman, I was already interested. I knew the university had a cyber program. We had professors there that were prior Air Force, and they had done some cyber stuff in the military. So I already knew that there were resources there that I could tap into for cybersecurity. So one day I was at an ACM, I think Associated Computing Membership is what it stands for. So I was at an ACM meeting, and there were some guys that stood up in front of the meeting and they said, "Hey, we're starting a cyber club." And that was kind of the whole spiel, was like, we want to do cyber. We're starting another club. Anyone who wants to do cyber, come holler at us, right? So I was like, that sounds like right up my alley. So I went and talked to them. Like I said, that was my freshman year. Very, very basic stuff. We didn't have a logo. We didn't have any papers of like a charter for like what the club was. Really just a bunch of college kids hanging out, talking cyber, eating pizza, beef it all.
I love it.
Yeah, good times. So fast forward a little bit, we get to junior year. Now we're a little more solidified. We have memberships. We're having regular meetings. We're doing competitions like CCDC. And we had some reps of trying CCDC and failing, unfortunately. But that junior year, I believe it was my junior year when this happened, we went to the regional competition. So the top 8 teams in that region go to regionals, and only one team can make it out of regionals to go to nationals. So that year, we just really focused on our business index and making sure we were organized, because that competition is chaos. It is absolute chaos for the students. I don't envy being in their position. I was there, I remember, but staying focused and organized, I think, was the key to winning. And when they called UCF for second place during that competition, the room, you could hear a pin drop. Like I promise you, everybody was like, "What do you mean UCF's second place? And who the heck is first place?" Right? Like if they didn't make it, because they were the kings. They'd gone 3 years prior, they had made it to nationals and won, so it was just kind of expected. Then they called University of South Alabama, and I don't think I've heard people celebrate that loudly since.
That's awesome.
It was a really cool experience to be able to go up there and take first place and ultimately go to nationals and take 5th out of all the schools in the country.
Wow.
It was a really cool experience.
That is amazing. That would definitely be very influential for me. I know that I would never forget that moment. I think I would have happy dreams about it later on. Like
Yeah, I
a
mean,
huge accomplishment.
we still brag about it to this day. I mean, I'm probably never gonna stop talking about it, to be honest with you.
No, it's a bond between you guys. Like you'll always share that, that will always be the tie between you.
Absolutely.
So you now serve as a red teamer at SECCDC. How much fun is it for you to torment the competitors? Have you ever been in the middle of a battle thinking, how does a student know that?
Oh, for sure. So to answer the first part of your question, it is definitely, I'll say selfishly, it is pretty fun, our red team. We're first and foremost, the red team is there to help the students, to educate them, to make sure that they're getting a challenge and they can practice their defensive skills and take that into the industry, right? And make these companies and our government more secure. But there is also a little part of it that is we have fun with it. It's for education, but we definitely have a good time. There's some jokes, some trolling. We definitely try to add to the frustration of the students throughout the day. Not too much, but just to keep them on their toes, right? So if you ask me if I prefer red or blue, I definitely prefer red. Definitely prefer red. But that's not to say the students are slouches, though. The students they're getting better every year. They're very smart. They're using their resources, like open source tools that people really use in the industry. We're finding that they're taking those and deploying them in their environment. They're having some custom stuff that I do believe the students have to make anything public that they want to bring to the competition. But even though it's public and we know ahead of time, it's still very effective. So definitely a moment last year or earlier this year, I apologize, at regionals for Southeast, there was some students who they had us scratching our heads for sure on how they were finding our implants and how they were locking down their networks. So be on the lookout for those students if you're hiring, because they're good.
Yeah, I love that. Definitely some heavy hitters on the red team. How much of what you all share ends up actually informing your work at your day job?
Oh, tons. We try to keep it respectful as far as if anyone mentions, hey, this technique or this tool I'm working on right now, maybe don't talk about that publicly or attribute my name to it. So we kind of keep it Chatham House rules like that. But there's actually a tool that we used this past Southeast earlier this year on the red team that I didn't know about ahead of time. And so I got there, was introduced to it. They explained how it worked. It was very effective at capturing some credentials over the network. And we're actually going to be using that on an upcoming engagement at Starbucks. So
oh my gosh,
it should go pretty well. It's part of our tool suite that we will be deploying. So yeah, we share a lot. We really use it on our day to day. So it's a pretty cool environment. It's a neat community. I'm fortunate to be a part of it, meet some really smart guys and girls who not only just do this stuff professionally, but they live and breathe it. They're at home, tinkering in the lab, writing new tools, putting out public research. And I've just never seen anything like this community. It's pretty cool.
DeMarcus, how did you get selected to be a red teamer for SEC CDC?
Yeah, great question. So during my first job out of college, I was actually working for a contractor called Raytheon. Some of you may be familiar, maybe not, but they sponsored CCDC at the national level for several years. I want to say 5 or 6 years. They were the primary sponsor. So when I was employed there, they had a certain amount of slots that they could allocate for red teamers. So I made my pitch. I said, hey, I used to be a student. I do a physical security work now. I would love to volunteer and kind of get back into it. So thankfully, I kind of had that door that was a little open. I could kind of go in that way. But once I was there and I met a lot of the other community members that were red teaming for the regions, we clicked. I got invited to some other Discords and we just kept the ball rolling. So I think it's mostly a thing of they just want to make sure if you're going to be on red team, you contribute and you're not just going to kind of show up and not really do anything, because that, like I said, that competition it's hectic. You got to be on your game because those students are good. So if you show up unprepared, you're gonna feel it.
Do organizations still recruit heavily at competitions like that? And were you ever approached by an employer when you were participating as a student?
Absolutely, and I think that is probably the biggest benefit from doing CCDC as a student. Not only just the experience you get, and knowing how to keep a level head under pressure and handle all these business tasks while you're trying to do the IT stuff. But obviously the goal is to get a job, right? We want to be employed. We want to be able to get into the field and practice those skills we've been working years on. So as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, they definitely recruit heavily. Even when I was at Southeast, I saw several companies there looking for students. When I was a student, there was Walmart, Amazon, Raytheon, the federal government. I'll never forget this moment at Nationals when I was taking a break. We went into an elevator, myself and some other teammates, and we were looking for snacks or something. I don't know, we're probably hungry, stressed out, right? So we get in the elevator, and there's a gentleman in a suit, looks very snazzy. And we ask him, oh, what's he doing here? He's like, oh, I'm recruiting. I'm here with the CIA. And it was, I think at that moment, I was like, oh, wow, this is, we're stepping into like something bigger now. Like the fact that I'm even in proximity to a recruiter for the CIA is, to me, that's just mind blowing. And that also that he admitted it, right? It's kind of funny.
Right? Yeah.
That's what I wondered. Yeah.
I agree.
But
He was really FBI, but he was pretending to be CIA, probably.
Little misdirection. But yeah, the recruiting opportunity there is fantastic. I highly recommend if students can get involved in CCDC, please do it.
DeMarcus, what did you do then after college to break into the industry?
Yeah, so CCDC was a big part of that. So when we went to regionals, actually, we were required to hand out our resume to every vendor there. And I don't know if that was actually a requirement that maybe our coach/school just told us to do. And they were like, hey, you got to do this. I don't know if that was CCDC, but yeah, absolutely. It helped tremendously. So all of the vendors got a copy of my resume, and I actually got a call from Raytheon about a summer internship. So they knew that we were already involved in CCDC. Obviously, we had made it to regionals. So I guess they're looking at it like, well, we know you have at least some kind of skill set. So why not bring you on as an intern? Let's, get you trained up. And then from there, I was able to move into a full-time role from the internship with Raytheon. So I owe a lot of my start to CCDC. So I'm always going to sing praises about that competition.
Oh, that's awesome. What, when you were doing so was that doing government contract work then for Raytheon principally? Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Government and military contracting. Yep.
Got it. So you had a transition from student to military contracting, and then you pivoted from military contracting. Was that to your current role?
I actually, after Raytheon, I ended up at AWS. So,
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, big company. And that was also another, transformation. Kind of. It was. I went from kind of what I call like siloed work, like very heads down, very technical work. Even though you were sitting right next to somebody, they may not know what you work on because you weren't read on to their project, and there may be a certain level of classification, et cetera, et cetera. And then you move to a huge corporation like an Amazon, and things are a lot more open. Things are moving really quickly. It was just like a night and day, really. It was a big transition.
Yeah, we've heard that from folks who work on government contracting pieces. It's just that need to know basis can make it highly technical but highly narrow, and you don't always see where your project fits in. But then that's cool that you then saw that transition. You're like, whoa, I can look at all this stuff. How do you?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a transition where you're like, do I stay task focused or do I lose myself looking at this cool thing that now I think got to go wherever I want? Yeah.
Yeah, that actually did come up a couple of times of just being, when I first got to AWS and having access to all the code for a lot of things that, people know about, like Alexa, for example. Like, you can just go look at that. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I never thought I'd see the source code for Alexa, you know what I mean? So as a security-minded person, as someone who's curious, it's easy to get trapped in that silo, that tunnel vision of, I'm going to focus on this one thing because it's really cool, but that's not really what you're supposed to be working on. You know what I mean? So I think that was probably part of the difficulty in transitioning from government to a huge corporation like an Amazon. Other difficulty may have been prioritization. Like, the government work, you're going to get the job done no matter what, because in the government side, they have what they call a mission. So they're going to do it. They don't care if it takes a year. Don't care if it takes 2 years. it's getting done, right? Especially if it's a matter of national security. On the corporate side of things, that's when we start getting into budgets and quarters and shareholders. And sometimes things get redirected and priorities get dropped or reprioritized because the ultimate goal is that we're a business, we got to make money, right? And I respect it, it is what it is. But it's just different. It's just very different from government.
Very different. I can totally see that. What about your transition into Starbucks? Was that another massive change, or did that one feel a little bit more fluid?
It felt a little more fluid just because it was from corporate to corporate. But I will say the biggest difference is work-life balance.
Oh, okay.
It's
Tell me more.
definitely a big difference. I don't want to denigrate anybody or anything like that. But Amazon is very fast. It's sink or swim. And so if you're the kind of person who's very type A, you thrive in chaos, you thrive in go, 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 you'll love Amazon. You'll love it. It's a good chance to level up. It's a good chance to really challenge yourself and really see what you're made of. But that can take a toll after a little bit. Just to be fair, after 4 years of doing it, I was like, I'm kind of, I don't know, getting a little tired.
Yeah, you can't live in that stage forever. Maybe some people can, but I'm with you. I know I can't. I need a good balance. I know that's how I'm able to make things sustainable throughout my life. There has to be balance.
Absolutely. And it was, like I said, I learned a lot. Learned a lot at Amazon. I met a lot of really smart people I still talk to this day. They employ so many people. There's probably like a lot of maybe InfoSec personalities or maybe some quote unquote legends that people may have heard of. And you get to Amazon, you find out, oh, they work here. I can just DM them on Slack and ask them a question. So there's definitely benefits. But moving to Starbucks, things are a little more laid back. I think primarily because Amazon's a tech company, right? They're tech first. Obviously, they have the storefront, but that is enabled by all the tech, primarily AWS. Starbucks sells coffee.
Yeah.
So it's very different atmosphere. Like we have technology to support the retail business, not the other way around. Right? It's not retail to support the tech. The tech supports retail. So the attitude around engineering, the attitude around tech is just a little more laid back than a place like a AWS and Amazon. So
yeah, absolutely. And with Starbucks, I know that they have a culture that is famous for being people first. How has that kind of influenced you in your approach to mentorship and kind of passing the torch forward?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I think I got a taste of that people first thing when I first got to Starbucks because I found out they do coffee tastings weekly. And which is really, to me, I find it fun because I love coffee, but it was definitely a shock coming from, like I said, a very fast-paced environment. Like in Amazon, I get to my new job and it's like, oh, we're just going to take an hour or 45 minutes and just talk and sip coffee.
That's awesome.
And that's what we're doing. And we're getting paid to do that. So very, very different environment. Like I said, a little more laid back, right?
Balance.
But yeah, exactly. Balance is important. But taking that people first approach and applying it to mentorship, I think that's very important. It's because without people, you don't really have anything. And I think in this industry, it's very easy to, especially if you're junior or maybe a little less experienced, you might think, oh, I can kind of go into the corner and just work on my hacking stuff and not talk to anybody and, leave me alone. I'm the mysterious hacker guy and I'm pretty, that's not really how things work. I hate to break it to you, anyone listening who maybe is interested in cyber. If you are not able to talk to people, if you can't communicate your ideas effectively, if people don't like you, you're going to have a really hard time getting people on your side, getting things approved. Without people, we don't really have anything. So I think it's the right approach to take, honestly, people first. So
DeMarcus, I know you've learned from some amazing people and you mentor others now, but who's somebody in the cyber community, the cybersecurity community, who you think that more people should be paying attention to?
Oh, no, you guys have some great questions. You're really good at this. Off the top of my head, there is a gentleman I follow on Twitter. I think his handle is NetSpooky. He does a lot of like esoteric research into Linux internals and just like really crazy stuff like code golfing. If anyone is familiar with that, it's where you try to write the smallest possible binary or like smallest possible code to do something crazy. Like, I don't know. I've seen people write C code. They write like a small stub of C code. It's in the shape of the moon. Like the actual source code, the text file is in the shape of a moon when you look at it. And then it prints out the current phase of the moon when you run the program.
Awesome.
So like really weird stuff like that people just, you would never think that people are doing this in their free time. Just tinkering with all kinds of crazy hardware. I believe they also have a magazine they put out called Temp Out, I believe is the name of it. So yeah, Net Spooky, if you find him on Twitter. Some pretty cool stuff going on over there.
Very nice. All right, we're going to take a short break now, and when we return, DeMarcus will go through our lifestyle polygraph. So please stay with us.
You're listening to the No Password Required podcast. We cover cybersecurity and a lot of other stuff.
Welcome back. As many of you know, the Lifestyle Polygraph is a test used by the federal government to determine if a person is worthy of learning some of our nation's most important secrets. Here, we use this technique for slightly lower stakes to determine whether our guest can join our fantasy cybersecurity squad. DeMarcus, are you ready for the Lifestyle Polygraph?
Yes, absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right. Question number 1. Someone hands you $1 million and says, blow it in 24 hours, 0 consequences. What is your first receipt?
Oh man, I've thought about this. So first thing I'm buying, a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. All black.
Absolutely.
All matte black, blacked out tinted windows. I love those things. They're like a tank of a car, but unfortunately for me, I think they cost about $150,000 MSRP. So won't be getting one of those anytime soon, but you know.
Well, the good thing is in this scenario, someone's just giving you $1 million, so you can buy several, share them around. Number 2, Stone Cold, The Rock, or The Undertaker? Who is winning a Capture the Flag and why?
Wow, that's a good question. And you're kind of combining two of my favorite things here. WWE, I don't know anyone who didn't like WWE as a kid, and cyber. So, okay, I'm going to have to go with Stone Cold. And my reason for why Stone Cold is going to have an edge on all these other guys when it comes to a CTF is because he just knows how to pound beers. And we're going to let you in on a secret. All right, if you know anything about Stone Cold, you know when he comes out, he's got the intro, he smashes the beers together. You know, he's doused them all over himself. I don't know if you guys do this, but the more beers you drink in a CTF, the better you do. So just take that little tip.
You know what, DeMarcus? I've found the same to be true for me in ping pong, so I totally understand that. It makes sense.
Very similar, yeah.
That's just math. It's just math. You can't argue with that. But that people forget, I think, when Stone Cold was at the height of his powers, just how popular he was and how influential he was across entertainment. And The Rock has had a great crossover career, and The Undertaker has lasted forever. But Stone Cold, when he was peak Stone Cold, I mean, you had families watching a guy chugging beer in prime time, right? It was just, we all accepted that was a normal thing. You can't, maybe that's going to start coming back. I don't know, but it was edgy for what it was.
It was. He was definitely ahead of his time, I think, with that. And it's just a testament to his personality, man. The Austin 316 shirts, like it was a whole movement, you know? So my Stone Cold for sure. I'm taking Stone Cold.
I love it. Number 3, which is the bigger opportunity to look cool? The walk up to a boxing ring or the walk up to deliver a DEF CON keynote?
Ooh, another good question. So I have a feeling, did I tell Rex that I boxed? Did I tell you that? I think I sent you that. Okay, so that's why.
Tell us about, DeMarcus, tell us about boxing. That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing it going on almost 3 years now. I think almost 3 years. So I just got to a point, you know, post-COVID, I used to rock climb, and I've kind of had an on and off relationship with fitness, but once COVID hit, you know, stuck inside, just like everybody else, right? Gyms are shut down. You can't do anything. So one day I looked around, I was like, you know, man, I don't really do much besides sit here. And that's gonna get bad real soon. I got to get up. You know what I'm saying? I gotta move around. So I looked around and I did martial arts as a kid. So I was like, oh, I'll try out boxing. You know, I've done kind of that when I was little. Maybe it'll be a fun way to stay in shape. And so I apologize for the tangent, but
No, this is great.
I almost didn't go back. So I went to the first boxing class, and the warm up for the class was like a mile run, plus shadow boxing outside in the heat. And I was like, man, I can't keep up with these guys. Like I was out of shape. So I almost didn't go back, but I was like, I'm not gonna give up. I just didn't feel right, like going once and then calling it quits. So I went back, and then I just kept going back again and again and again. And so now I've just been doing it for a couple of years now, but it keeps me honest, keeps me humble, keeps me in shape.
Huh.
So I love it. It's awesome.
Lawrence, I've heard that it is like chess and that there's a lot more thinking to it than people would understand. I've never done it, but is that true?
Oh, absolutely. And I didn't understand it until I did it. Like on the surface, it just looks like people are fighting, you know, and you know, you think to yourself, oh, I can throw a punch, or, you know, if someone punched me like that, I would do this, until you actually get in there in the ring and you're standing in front of another person and your legs are sore, your shoulders are burning, you can't keep your hands up, you're sweating your eye. And it's actually only been about a minute and a half into the 3-minute round. And then you're looking around panicked, like, oh my God, So yeah, it is definitely more of a mental game, the mental fortitude to like not give up, but also what you'll learn the more you do it, the men and women who are really good at it, they are playing a chess match with you. They'll do certain movements or throw certain punches to force you to react a certain way. And they're setting you up to walk into another punch. And that's where you start getting to what we call boxing IQ. Yeah, that's a whole other thing they've been doing it for years, you know. So yeah, it's a fascinating sport. It really is.
DeMarcus, do you have a walk-up song yet, or has it yet to be discovered for you?
It's yet to be discovered for me.
Okay.
But I do, to answer Sarina's question though, about the walk-up, like which is cooler. I gotta go with, I think boxing has the cooler opportunity for walk-up, only because so far, at least to my knowledge, we haven't had a DEF CON keynote speaker walk out to like a rap song or like with a celebrity or like a musician. That's really common in boxing. Like they'll be accompanied by like Eminem or, you know, or like Lil Wayne or something. And that's cool. So we can get that to DEF CON. Yeah.
And robes too. You need robes with your name on it, or a nickname
true.
on the back of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. All the jewels and the swag. We got to bring some of that to DEF CON.
Yeah, all of it matters. It sets the vibe. It sets the energy, you know. I need
For sure.
I want the song. All right, number 4. What food or drink is always within arm's reach during a long hacking session?
Oh, always LaCroix. I drink this stuff like, I don't know what is wrong with me.
Me too.
I can't stop drinking LaCroix, but it scratches that certain itch, and specifically the flavor is limoncello. I don't know if you've ever had that one.
Oh, I'm not retarded.
It's a classic. Yeah.
The limoncello LaCroix, bro. Telling you, this stuff.
So we get it we have 3 kids in the house still. We get LaCroix, and they drink them too, except they don't like limoncello and they don't like the grapefruit flavor. Those are the only flavors that the adults like and the kids don't like. So sometimes an extra one of those might get put in the fridge, but it's because it is more of an adult flavor, for what it's worth. All right, limoncello LaCroix, I like it.
It's a solid choice. Any snacks?
Oh man, yeah, I gotta go with Doritos. You know, hacker, but not the OG flavor, not nacho cheese. Even though that's a good one to have. But the purple bag, have you guys had the purple one? This
Sweet and spicy, chili one, so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that stuff goes crazy. Yeah, that one and some LaCroix. I'm good to go.
You're good to go. Yeah, you're set.
Frankly, it's a complete meal. It's a complete meal.
I agree.
You don't need, it's got all your corn chip food group.
Indeed.
Your cheese, your
protein.
Cheese. Yeah, cheese has protein, traces of protein, Sarina.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
That's right.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
All your nutrients right there.
Just traces. That's all you need.
Oh, I love it. Now I'm going to be craving Doritos for the rest of the day for sure. All right, number 5. What is one piece of technology, real or fictional, that you would love to reverse engineer just for fun?
Ooh, I think I'm between two answers. Okay, I always go with this. Is first one off the top of my head. But if you ever watched Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, they have a scouter that they wear on their eye. It's like a piece of eyewear, and they can point it at another person, and it reads their power level or like how strong they are. And I don't know. I just think that'd be cool to take apart and see how that works. Like what about that is allowing you to scan someone and be like, no, I could take that guy. He's not as strong as me. I got him. So, yeah.
We would avoid so much conflict. I think that would be like it would be like a peacekeeping thing. If two people could just do that and be like, nope, we're good. We've already decided it, and I cede to you.
Exactly. Like I'm not gonna mouth off to that guy because he's about 100 levels above me, and I don't want any problems. Right. So,
That would be a great tool for boxing too. That would be very helpful.
yes, absolutely. Save a lot of headaches.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of the lifestyle polygraph. What do you think, Jack? Does he have what it takes to join our fantasy cybersecurity squad?
Yeah, DeMarcus, welcome to the Fantasy Cybersecurity Squad. I think we've had pen testers on. I don't believe we've ever had a red teamer. So you would be the red teamer on the Fantasy Cybersecurity Squad,
Nice.
which is amazing. Plus, you could help us pick up some boxing tips for defending ourselves in case there is a physical attack or a physical threat of some sort on our team.
Humbly accept. Glad to be here. Yeah.
DeMarcus, thanks so much for joining us. If our listeners want to get in touch with you or follow you, how can they do that?
Yes, I am on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on Twitter at my handle is Medarkus. It's actually my name, but like kind of mixed up. So it's MEDARKUS_. So that's the handle. You can find me there. Just fair warning, it's a mix of cybersecurity and personal stuff. So some people, when they follow people on InfoSec Twitter, I'm only saying this because I've heard they only want to see cybersecurity information. That's the only one on their feed. If you follow me, you will get more than cybersecurity information. So just let you know right now.
Pictures of kittens. We just yet.
Exactly. Some football talk is going to be mixed in there too.
Very good.
So yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks as always for listening. For the entire No Password Required team, I'm Jack Clabby, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for listening to the No Password Required podcast. Join us next time for more with your favorite cybersecurity personalities. In the meantime, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this episode. You can find us on social media at NoPasswordPod. The show is produced by Cyber Florida, and a special thanks goes out to our friends at Carlton Fields and Reality Shift. For more information, visit our website at cyberflorida.org/pod.